Have you ever felt a pressure to feel like you've got to live up to a certain standard of being a Christian? Well, how you going, church? So excited to be in the book of 1 Corinthians with you today. We're in the first half of chapter 7, where Paul gets pretty practical. In this chapter, he's beginning to address one of the questions that they're writing to him about being married. The issue is, do we stay married? Don't we stay married? What does it look like to be Jesus' people in that relationship and in that context? And then Paul then flows out of that logic to talk about what it means to be Jesus' people in other contexts, whether it's to become a slave, to not become a slave, whether it is to be married, to not be married, whether it's to be circumcised and not be circumcised. It's an important question because there is this tendency that Paul is writing into where people feel as if they need to go next level as a Christian, where they've got to show the right signs and they've got to do the right sort of virtue signaling to show that they are the real stock of God. But what does Paul say? What does Paul say? Well, check out verse 19. Paul gets pretty personal, but pretty practical. For neither circumcision counts for anything, nor uncircumcision, but keeping the commandments of God. Each one should remain in the condition in which he was called. So we see for Paul that if whatever circumstance you're in, if that is not a circumstance that is dishonoring God, if you're not in a posture of constant sin, Paul just wants you to remain there, and you don't need to go next level. He just wants you to remain and to live and in obeying the commandments of God. Now, he's not saying this, he's not saying this to, live and obey so that you may earn a certain standing. No. He's already started this letter addressing them as saints. He's already speaking to them as people who know the love of God, who have received the gift of new life through Jesus. So Paul is saying, look, you just have to remain as you are, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you wear these sorts of clothes or those sorts of clothes, whether you have that job or this job, wherever you find yourself, it's just perfectly fine for you to honor me in that context. Don't feel like you've got to work up the ladder, or don't feel like you've got to dig down deeper to virtue signal to the rest of the world who you are. I know who you are. You are a child of mine. When I look at you, I see the righteous deeds of Jesus Christ. You have been washed, you have been cleaned, you have been sanctified, glorified because of Jesus. You don't have to live up to the world's standards. You don't have to put the pressures of other people onto your life. You just have to take on Jesus' burden, which is light, which is easy, which is the one which is the way, the truth, and the life. So, friends, I don't know where you are in life, but what I don't want you to think is that if you're a Christian, you've got to now have certain distinguishing marks to the rest of the world. The distinguishing mark that we have is towards God, and that is keeping his commandments. Keeping his commandments. So wherever you are, remain as you are. That's totally fine. And you can honor God in that. You can. He's given you Christ. He's given you his Spirit, and he gives you help to honor him from a posture of love and acceptance to eternal life.